We are now live.
Good morning. I'm Vice Chair Sarah Copley, and I'd like to welcome you to the September 13th, 2022 special called meeting of the Homeless Initiative Advisory Committee. This commission is composed of not more than 16 members representing various focus areas or agencies such as philanthropy, Buncombe County, supportive and permanent housing, mental health, substance abuse treatment, legal, educational, etc. The term of office is 3 years, and members are appointed by the City Council and County Commissioners at 8 members each. This committee also hears monthly updates from the National Alliance to End Homelessness about their current project to conduct a comprehensive needs assessment on unsheltered homelessness and develop strategies our community can implement in response. All committee members and staff are participating virtually for this meeting before we meet in person at our next meeting, September 23rd. We are streaming live on our Virtual Engagement Hub, which is accessible through the Virtual Engagement Hub link on the front page of the city website, and it's also linked on the HIAC page. We also have an option for public to listen live by phone, and for those of you who joined us today, welcome so much. I'll now go through the agenda and welcome the committee members who are participating virtually. If you can please say hello. I call your name. David Bartholomew.
Good morning.
Good morning. Lance Crawford.
Hello.
Hello. Elvia Diaz. Rick Freeman.
Hello.
Hello. Claire Hubbard. I see her there. Claire, you might be on mute.
I am struggling with my sound. Can you hear me now?
Perfectly. Yes. Good morning.
Good morning.
Sorry. Marcus Laws.
Good morning.
Good morning. Dustin Mailman. Tim McEllier.
Good morning.
Good morning. David Nash.
Good morning.
Good morning. Joelle Steininger. Jessica Supik.
Good morning.
Good morning. Jennifer Teague.
Good morning.
Good morning. Wonderful. We have achieved our quorum. Thank you, everyone, for making time for this special call meeting. I know it's on a Tuesday, not our original last Friday of the month meeting. I would like to offer our consent agenda, which you would have received in the meeting materials. Are there any questions that I can answer before asking for approval?
I only saw that I'm listed twice on the agenda. I mean, on the minutes.
That's because you're very important to us.
The minutes were different. They were captured as action minutes. So was it in the time of the meeting minutes? Then?
Yeah, it says present board members, and then I'm listed twice.
All right, we will make that correction. Any other questions or corrections to the consent agenda? Can I have a motion to accept the consent agenda with the change of 1 Jennifer Teague?
So moved.
Thank you. Can I have a second?
Second.
And I'll do a quick roll call. If you can just say A or nay. David Bartholomew.
Yay.
Lance.
Yay.
Rick.
Yay.
Claire. I'll come back to you, Claire. Marcus.
Yay.
Tim.
Yay.
David Nash.
Yay.
Jennifer Teague.
Yay.
Claire, were you able to get your sound?
Yay.
Thank you. All right, we've approved the consent agenda. Our main item on the agenda is the fiscal year 2022 Continuum of Care Consolidated Application. I'll turn this over to the finance work group, but I just want to thank them for all of the time spent reviewing these applications. It's a tremendous amount of work. I know we have Jamie, a guest from the community, who also very generously gave their time to this initiative. So before I turn it over, I just wanted to thank you all for going through this so meticulously. Turn it over to David.
Thank you, Sarah. So Emily, do you have something you can pull up that we can look at? We reviewed all the applications. We had one from the city to cover the HMIS function, one from Helpmate for rapid rehousing for domestic violence survivors, and several from Homeward Bound. All of these are renewal applications. The Helpmate application focuses on rapid rehousing, meaning relatively short-term assistance to people while they get back on their feet and are able to ultimately take over the rent on their own home. Homeward Bounds are all permanent supportive housing, meaning long-term subsidies for people generally with disabilities who have faced chronic homelessness in the past and are being housed everybody's in a housing first model, but housed and then provided services for long-term placement. And the HMIS is a grant that covers a small amount of administration at the city, but primarily covers the subscription fees for the different agencies that participate in HMIS, so that those agencies don't have to come up with their own funding to cover that function. There was one new application from Homeward Bound for a rapid rehousing grant, $91,000. Again, this would be shorter term assistance, and it's a function that we really need in our community. So as part of our review, we used a score sheet. We ranked, we gave scores for each application based on a variety of factors, which I will not belabor with you. We did use a racial equity lens as part of that process. So there were some racial equity questions that were answered. And then we kind of analyzed where we were. HUD is requiring us this year to put 95% of our prior year funding in, there's a tier 1 and a tier 2 category. Tier 1 is based on 95% of our prior year funding. It is not guaranteed, but likely fairly well assured that we will get the tier 1 funding. Tier 2 is more competitive nationwide, and but all of the applications that are renewal applications are existing applications at the same funding amounts as they were in the past, which obviously totals up to 100% of that past year funding. So our task was to figure out where to take the 5% out of those grants. And what we ultimately decided to recommend to the committee was that all of the Helpmate grant be included in tier 1, the HMIS grant be included in tier 1, and 5 of the Homeward Bound grants be fully included in tier 1, but that one Homeward Bound grant be split between tier 1 and tier 2. So that 5% is coming out of what's called permanent supportive housing 1. It will be in tier 2. It's ranked as the top preference in tier 2. So hopefully it will also be funded. And then below that, the new grant for rapid rehousing, if we're competitive enough to win that. So that's kind of a quick and dirty explanation. There might be some things I left out that Emily can fill in, or that some of the other committee members want to fill in, but this is our recommendation for funding for this year.
I'll add just one thing, which is that the that 5% is also reflected in the city's, in the recommended amount for the city's renewal for HMIS. That's a roughly 5% cut in the city's renewal, and then 5% in that permanent supportive housing 1 project that David discussed. And I will also really echo what Sarah said at the beginning about appreciating the finance work group. This is a very heavy lift for all of us, certainly for the 4 of them, and I really appreciate everything that they've done.
Thank you, Emily. Thank you,
Thanks,
David. Now, this is, the tiers are really helpful, particularly in looking at the application materials, and the 5%, that's a creative adjustment. So thank you guys for doing that. All right, do you have any questions or comments from the finance work group recommendations? No. Can I have a motion to approve these work group recommendations?
This is coming from the finance work group, so I'll make that motion.
Thank you. Second.
I'll second.
Thank you, Lance. I'll do a quick roll call. If you can say yes or no if you approve. David Bartholomew,
Yes.
Lance,
Yes.
Rick,
Yes.
Claire, Marcus,
Yes.
I'm sorry, Marcus, well, actually, you'll need to recuse yourself since Homeward Bound is a funded partner in this.
Thank you, Emily. I'm sorry about that, Marcus. That was my miss. Apologize. Tim,
Yes.
David Nash,
Yes.
Jessica,
Yes.
Jennifer.
Yes.
Excellent. Thank you again, Emily, particularly for leading all this. I think the scorecard method was really effective, and particularly I appreciate the racial equity questions in this year's applications. Do we have any public comment? Yes, go ahead, Emily.
So thank you all again. We actually need 2 additional votes on this item. So we do need the vote that you just conducted to approve the priority listing, which is the finance work group recommendations. And then we also need a vote on the continuum of care application, which is that accompanying narrative about our community's work around homelessness. And then third, we need a vote on recommending that the city, as the collaborative applicant, submit this consolidated application on behalf of the continuum of care.
Okay, great. All right, I'm going to go through the roll call again. We'll have a vote on the COC application summary that Emily mentioned. And then the third vote actually will be voting on the city approval.
You probably need a motion and a second, Sarah.
Yes. Thank you. So for the first vote on the COC application narrative, could I have a motion to approve?
Make a motion to approve.
Thank you. Can I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Again, this is voting on the COC application narrative. David Bartholomew,
Yes.
Lance,
Yes.
Rick,
Yes.
Claire, Marcus,
Yes.
thank you, Tim,
Yes.
David Nash,
Yes.
Jessica,
Yes.
Jennifer T.
Yes.
Thank you. So we are approving the COC application summary that will accompany the work group recommendations. Now we need a vote on the city approval of the application of the COC application. Can I have a motion to approve?
A motion to approve.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Great. Thank you both. All right, I'll go through the roll call again. We're voting on the the city, approval of the application. David Bartholomew,
Yes.
Lance,
Yes.
Rick,
Yes.
Claire,
Yes.
thank you. Marcus,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
David Nash,
Yes.
Jessica,
Yes.
Jennifer.
Yes.
Thank you again for the work. So we did have a unanimous approval on both the CUC application, the city narrative, and the city's application. So thank you all so much. Again, the finance work group, that was huge. Again, I'll ask if there's any public comment of anyone on the line or has sent questions to the city or is on the phone.
There are no public comments in the queue.
Thank you so much. This concludes our special call meeting on September 13th, 2022. We will now adjourn. Thank you so much for your time. We'll see you in person for our September 23rd meeting at the Asheville Housing Authority Boardroom, which is at 165 South French Broad Avenue. Please contact me or Emily if you need any assistance in locating it or getting to the meeting. I look forward to seeing you then. Meeting adjourned.